I'm being accused of rape and I don't know if I actually did it. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. This all started 2 years ago at a party. 2 years ago, my friends called me up and told me they had a party to go to. Ironically, I did not want to go to this party. I felt really tired from work and I just wanted the night off to chill. That's until my friend called me and told me that the girl that I liked would be at the party. Here's a little backstory on the girl and me. Her and I met through mutual friends, and from the moment that I met her, I really liked her. The night I met her, I asked her out and she said no. So I left it at that. Of course, my feelings didn't change for her. I still liked her. Anytime I would see her at parties or friends' houses, we would always chat. I never asked her out again, but she could clearly tell that I still liked her. I had a bad habit of staring at her. So when my friend told me that she'd be at the party, I decided to go. As soon as we got to the party, I saw that she was talking to this one guy. Now I have to confess, it made me really angry. This is when I decided to have a few beers. Now here's when things start going bad. I'm starting to get tipsy and my friends start telling me to go talk to her. I said no, but they insisted. Instead of sticking to my guns, I decided to do what my friends wanted me to do. I walked up to this girl, not even saying hello, and I said, "Are you dating this guy?" While this guy is standing right next to us. That's when she pushes me aside and says, "It's none of your business." Part 2 is I'm being accused of rape and I don't know if I actually did it. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. That's when she pushes me to the side and tells me it's none of my business. That's when the guy that was standing next to her tells me to leave. So I did. I walked back to my friends completely defeated and embarrassed. I felt humiliated. Almost 5 minutes later, she comes up to me and apologizes. She said, "I'm sorry I pushed you." I told her it was okay and if we could just talk. We went to the backyard and I asked her why she wasn't interested in me. That's when she told me that she had been in an abusive relationship and she wasn't looking for anything else. I told her that I wasn't looking for a relationship either and that I just really liked her. Basically, I just wanted to hang out with her. She said she wanted to stay away from guys for now, and I said why. And that's when she kissed me. I was completely shocked. I was not expecting that. Now I could tell that she had been drinking too because she was a little tipsy, so I kissed her back. I could hear my friends cheering in the background. They're such idiots. So I asked her if she wanted to go somewhere more private. We ended up going to one of the bedrooms in the house, and we kept on kissing. At this point, she did not say no. It felt like she wanted it just as much as I did, and we went for it. And to be honest, it only lasted about a minute. After we finished, we kissed and we went back to the party. She held my hand for the rest of the night. In my eyes, things had gone pretty good. But then my worst nightmare began. Part 3 is up. I'm being accused of rape and I don't know if I actually did it. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. After we did the deed, she held my hand for the rest of the night. And there were witnesses to her kissing me and holding my hand that night. A few moments later, she completely disappeared. I didn't see her at all for the next 3 days. I decided to call her the next day, but she did not answer her phone. I also sent her messages, but she didn't text back. 4 days later, I get a knock on my door, and it's her dad. And that's when he told me that his daughter was accusing me of rape. I was in complete shock when he said that. Then he asked me what my version was. I told him exactly what happened and he said that she probably said no and I kept going. I told him that at no point did she say no and that people had seen us kissing and holding hands throughout the night. Then he said I took advantage of her being drunk, but she wasn't even that drunk. He also said she was probably so drunk that she didn't even realize she was holding my hand. Here's the thing. After he left, I sat down and started thinking about the entire night. And I really started thinking back. Did she say no? Did she tell me to stop? I was drunk at the time, but I swear to God she didn't, or at least I didn't hear her say it. Her body language wasn't saying stop. Here's the thing. My parents have a lot of money. Now they're asking my parents to just give them lots of money and that they'll drop everything. My parents are just going to pay them the money. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for making a pregnancy jar? My husband and I have been married for 6 years and still don't have kids. We want them, but it's just not happening yet. Friends and family are causing us constant stress about having a baby, but it's obviously something we can't control. What I did was come up with the idea, and that is to have an empty jar and call it pregnancy jar. I carry it when I'm with friends and family, and every time someone asks when my husband and I are going to have a baby, I pull the jar out and ask them to drop $1. I get puzzled looks, but they did pull out $1. After 4 months, they just stopped asking. Last week we had dinner at my parents' house and my brother came back from his trip that lasted a month and asked again. I then pulled out my jar. Am I the asshole for making a pregnancy jar? I asked him to drop $1 for the question he asked and he stared at me then laughed nervously asking if I was serious. Everyone was looking at us and he said no. He didn't have to pay me, but I told him that he didn't have to ask either, so here we are. I could tell he was embarrassed, reached into his pocket, and put $1 in my jar. I sat down and resumed eating like nothing happened, and it got awkward. Mom pulled me into the kitchen later and said I embarrassed him in front of his wife and family, and I should stop acting childish. I told her they should stop asking then. She said they're just worried because we're in our mid-30s and don't have much time left. I got upset and she started arguing. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my friend group what my friend does with my panties? Paul has been my 26 female roommate for a little over a year. We've been good friends since college and also maintained our friend group from college as well. I started to notice something odd recently. My underwear has frequently been disappearing and reappearing in my drawer. Occasionally, I would notice that some pairs that were supposed to be clean had a strange smell. I got suspicious after a while, and especially after I brought it up to Paul. He shrugged me off at first, but I started getting really weird vibes after some arguing back and forth. Paul reluctantly admitted that he's been stealing my underwear, wearing them, and putting them back. Am I the asshole for telling my friend group what our friend does with my panties? I'm assuming the hope was that I would end up wearing them too. My skin crawled, and I'm honestly a very open-minded person. I wouldn't have had a problem with him wearing women's underwear if they weren't mine, and he also confessed he'd been doing it for months. I told him he'd have to leave immediately, and he agreed. He said he was embarrassed and understood why I didn't want to be friends anymore. But he didn't want me to tell our mutual friends. But they were asking about why he was leaving so suddenly. I told them because I honestly needed support, and I also knew there was no way I'd be able to hang out with him in the group. They were shocked and understood my decision. He then confronted me for telling them, "Am I the asshole for getting mad at my friends for trying to get me to drink at a get-together? I, 23 male, am a recovering alcoholic, and I haven't drank in a bit over a year. Being sober is very important to me, and I don't ever want to drink again. Anyways, my friends from high school invited me to one of their houses. I was conflicted, but I hadn't seen them in a while, so I said whatever and went. I found out they were drinking when I showed up, which I expected and didn't really mind because I'm at the point where I'm comfortable going to events with alcohol. Anyway, they kept asking if I was going to drink, and I told them no and explained why, but they didn't get it. When they realized they wouldn't change my mind, they stopped, and I asked my friend who was hosting if they could grab me water. Am I the asshole for getting very mad at my friends for trying to get me to drink at a get-together? They kept asking even after I explained that I was a recovering alcoholic. Eventually, after they realized I wouldn't change my mind, they shut up about it for a bit. I then asked my friend who was hosting if he could grab me a water, so he came back with a Poland Spring bottle. When I opened it, I didn't hear the cap click, so I got sketched out and I smelled it, and it was vodka. I told him that was so not cool and just got up and left. I got a bunch of texts saying it was just a joke, but I ignored them. When I got home and told my girlfriend who was in recovery about it, she said I should never hang out with them again. I think that's too far. Would I be the asshole if I cancel my daughter's celebratory trip because I need to be somewhere else? I've always promised my daughter that after her final exam results, she can finally travel alone and take a holiday with her friends before university. My daughter and her friends have been planning it for a while, and me and the other girls' parents are funding the trip. They've planned it to be a week long. My sister will be having her first child and has invited me to spend the week with her. It's the same week my daughter would be away, and I desperately want to be with her and the newborn. But it's across the country. There's dodgy reception, and I feel pretty uncomfortable with my daughter being away while I'm not home. What if she had an emergency and needed me to come get her? Would I be the asshole if I cancel my daughter's celebratory trip because I need to be somewhere else? I probably wouldn't get her calls, and if I did, I wouldn't be in the right position to plan something for her. Obviously, the ideal situation was for me to be at home so I could be easily accessible to her. Will I be a huge asshole if I withdraw my daughter from the trip? She's been looking forward to it for years, but my nephew will only be a newborn once, and my daughter has her whole life to travel. I'm very stressed about this, but am pretty sure of my decision to withdraw her. I just want to make sure this won't hurt her. Edited to add, thank you to the parents and children telling me she'll be hurt. I'm uncomfortable not being home still, so I think I'll just visit my sister another time.